Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by.
If you want to live forever, this guy is the guy to talk to. Dr. Tracy Gapin. What's going on, Doc?
How are you? Good to see you.
Obviously, you've had a very unique, very, very unique entrepreneurial experience. I'm so excited that we get to share that with so many people who are watching and listening. Really talk about your journey, not only as it were in the doctor world, but also in the world of being an entrepreneur, also in the world of living longer, making people live longer, and also what I really find interesting is your marketing journey. So first, how about this? Give us one added value to live longer. How does that sound?
Oh man, sleep better.
Yeah. Okay, really?
Yeah,
That easy?
Yeah, one of the big things that crushes us is stress, and people immediately think psychological stress, but I mean any stress to your system. And one of the biggest stressors to your system is poor quality sleep, without question. Yeah.
I like that. So give us a couple of hints there how you get your sleep then. How about that?
Living with intention is a big focus of mine, and we talk with our clients. It's, let's say you get up at 5 a.m. Let's say you're getting up at 5 a.m. Well, you work backwards. You have to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Some people need more than that, but assume it's 7, 8 hours. That means that if you're waking up at 5, count backwards. You got to be asleep by 10. Most people won't do that. Most people are up at night. They're watching Netflix. They're on their phones. They're doing other stuff instead of really being intentional about setting those consistent daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things you can do is be very intentional, that prioritize that 1/3 of every day is probably the most important third of your life is sleeping. That's when your body repairs, it recovers, hormones are produced. A lot of important things happen in your body when you're sleeping. And so instead of sacrificing it, focus on how can I prioritize that. And so, for the last couple hours before you go to bed, you should be focused on 5 things only: no blue light, no red tablets, no laptops, phones, etc. No food or drink for 2 hours before you go to bed. Instead, 5 things: read a book, paper book, no Kindle, and it should be something that's not in your industry or line of work. It should be something that's educational or maybe fiction, something that's not related to your field of work though. Number 2, journaling. Great time to document, practice gratitude. What are you thankful for? What did you accomplish today? What do you want to focus on tomorrow? Third is going to be mindfulness practices, and this could be breathing exercise. It could be meditation. It could be anything to kind of calm yourself. A great time to do that before bed. Fourth is sauna. Love sauna. A lot of great benefits for longevity as it relates to sauna. A great time to do it is in those last couple hours before bed. And then finally, what better way to calm the mind and body before you go to bed to prepare yourself for sleep? But intimacy with your partner, sex. So 5 things.
I like that.
Reading a book, it's journaling, it's meditating, it's sauna, and it's sex, but do not do them all at the same time. That'd be really awkward, but those are the 5 things I recommend.
Yeah, that'd be really awkward, wouldn't it?
There you go.
Wow, those are that's really, really good advice. So what about a sleep aid? Because I have so many friends who are taking sleep aids. Do you have any thoughts there?
I do. So I love things like magnesium, glycinate, especially glycinate or threonate is great at getting into the brain. Things like L-theanine, GABA. Some people do well with ashwagandha, others do not, but that's another potential. Those are some great supplements that you can focus on. But in general, you want to avoid a lot of the drugs out there, like the Ambiens, et cetera, because what they'll do is they'll sedate you, but you don't get the good quality sleep that you really need. And so you don't want to rely on drugs. You want to identify what's the problem, what's the reason why you're not getting good quality sleep, and how can you improve it. I have a lot of our clients who, I want to emphasize that peptides are like the icing on the cake. They're not the fundamental part, but for some people, peptides are a great way to help improve sleep quality as well. If we can boost our natural body's production of growth hormone is the best hormone as it relates to producing good quality deep sleep. And so a lot of things that you could look at, but I would really avoid the pharmaceuticals as it relates to sleep.
I like that. I like that. Wow, we've already jumped into it. We've already thrown in the first 15 minutes talking about sex. Why don't you give a little bit of a background about who you are and how you can add value to those who are watching and
Yeah.
listening?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm a recovering urologist. I like to say I spent 25 years in traditional medicine, running a very busy surgical practice, doing robotic surgery, treating prostate cancer, focused on men's health and performance, and testosterone and sexual health, and you name it as it relates to men's health. About halfway through my urology career, I hit a real wall where it wasn't just burnout alone. I was a mess. I was physically a mess. I was fat. I was stressed out. I wasn't sleeping well. I had to really admit that I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating well, wasn't exercising. And I finally hit that wall where I went to go see a doctor myself. And it was a real eye-opening experience when I had to really face my own vulnerability and my own mortality suddenly. It was real. But the real eye-opening moment for me here was the only thing he recommended for me was I probably just need to be on a statin, a drug, a pharmaceutical, a cholesterol medication. And I knew I needed a lot more than that, but I had to humbly recognize that here I was as the men's health expert, and this is what traditional medicine does to us as doctors. We are siloed into just treating, a diagnosis. So we find the diagnosis, and here's the drug. We're never taught how to actually teach people how to get healthy. We're never taught how to get healthy ourselves. And so I had to go back to school myself. And so I spent almost a decade going back to school, and I learned functional medicine and hormones and peptide and epigenetics, which is really the science of how our lifestyle and environment affect the way our body works. And how do you incorporate lifestyle into a program? How do you use wearable technology to track data? And looking at all the new longevity science and molecules that are out there, I was able to get healthy myself, and I honestly finally found my passion again for medicine that I had lost for so many years. I was ready to quit medicine entirely. I was really burned out and disillusioned. And so I built a business around it, around
Mm.
this incredible new passion. I found like my purpose in life again. I went back to school and also learned the business side of things. How do I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to build a business and build a team and create a culture and all this stuff around marketing and sales and business development. And I had to really start from scratch. And so I went through a lot of masterminds and courses and certifications. I'm still in a bunch of all kinds of groups that teach me something every day on how do I be a better leader. And it's not just about practicing medicine now, because I don't really see clients myself. My team does. It's how do I be a more effective leader? How do I be a better person so that my team around me can really support and build the business?
Yeah, you're pretty humble, man. You're really humble. So, because I think of you as a marketing guru. I mean, your background, because if I remember correctly, you stopped basically, and then day one, you basically had no clients coming in. You had to just go out there and grind,
That's
if I
right.
remember correctly.
That's right. Yeah. So I left urology, and I'm making close to seven figures when I left my urology practice. This is back in 2020. I gave my partners my 1 year notice that I had to give, that I'm leaving the practice, leaving the group. I'm stepping away from traditional medicine. I'm jumping off this cliff, if you will. And I went from nearly seven figures to nothing.
Yeah.
And I had to start from scratch. And we were able to grow very quickly because I was able to very clearly articulate my message, the promise that we made for our clients, how we can provide that transformation. And we delivered. And we provided cutting, innovative solution that really wasn't out there at the time.
Yeah, and before we go into marketing, because that's what I'm most interested in, but let's talk a little bit about your longevity practice. So pull the curtains back a little bit more so I, as an entrepreneur, let's say a
Yeah.
relatively successful entrepreneur, can learn a little bit more about, living longer.
Yeah. So we take a very integrated approach to optimization, performance, longevity, precision medicine, a lot of different terms that almost mean one and the same.
Mm.
I use the analogy of a cake. When you go bake a cake, a lot of ingredients, right? There's flour, there's sugar, there's baking soda, etc. Well, the cake that we're baking here has a lot of ingredients. It's your nutrition. It's your gut health. It's your hormones. It's your sleep. It's your fitness level. It's stress. It's toxins in your environment. It's relationships. You see all these ingredients kind of come together to give you the outcome that we're looking for, which is mostly, for the most part, people have the same goals. I want to have more energy. I want better focus. I want to have better drive. I want to have a better body that I love. I want to have better sex. I want to live longer and better, and all these great goals. And it comes down to the fundamentals. And a lot of people out there want to look at the sexy stuff like the cryo and the cold plunge and the red light and the sauna and the PEMF and the hyperbarics and all these other stuff. They're great, but they're the icing on the cake. They're the frosting on that cake. You need the fundamentals first. And so I built a team focused on that. So I have a medical team that focuses on certain aspects of ingredients of that cake, and have a functional medicine coaching team that focuses on a lot of the lifestyle components that you really need. You need the coaching, you need the medical work, you need the advanced diagnostics to find your blind spots, I call it, find what's really holding you back. And so many of the driven, successful leaders I work with, they think they're fine. We are masters at adaptation and compensation, and we're able to overcome some major issues under the surface. And so I like to start with the diagnostic testing to show you, Kenner, let me show you what's really going on. You think you're fine, but you're not. And that's an eye-opening moment where people realize, holy cow, I need help. And then we could put all the pieces together. And then the big part of it is, then how do you know that what you're doing, whether it's hormones and supplements and nutrition and fitness, how do you know it's actually working for you? And so we're big on tracking results and tracking outcomes. And we use all kinds of metrics like wearable technology, like tracking blood sugar and tracking stress and sleep, and tracking macronutrient intake and body composition scans, and all these tools that we have to really track outcome data, so that I can use it, number one, just to show the client, holy cow, look at the results we're getting. Because some people think, oh, I don't know, I'm getting results. And then the numbers don't lie. The numbers, tell the real truth. And like, oh, I am getting better. Great. That's awesome. Most people feel it. Some people aren't quite sure, but the numbers don't lie. And so that's really how I put the whole program together, is look at the key components, what that I need. I'm my own best avatar, and then how do I serve that client even better?
So what's one example of someone who's you've completely turned their life around? Let's say they're, I don't know, well, just like you, I guess you were saying you're overweight, but you're 300 pounds and all of a sudden they're whatever, 250 and they're a stud now,
I have a couple out of Colorado. They come to see me every year. They take a big road trip every summer, June and July, and they drive down to Sarasota, Florida, and they meet with us for the day. And Rodney and Cindy Miller, they're very outspoken about this. He's a retired Air Force. I'm not sure what his title was, but he was in the Air Force, retired. Heavy. Both of them were heavy, overweight, and they had this ball every year. There was this big Air Force ball, and he wouldn't go to it. Why wouldn't he go? Because he was too fat, too embarrassed of himself. His wife was ashamed, and they needed help. But they had tried everything out there and no success. And we found that it was gut health issues, it was sleep, it was hormones, it was basic fundamental ingredients of that cake I was telling you about. And when we were able to really dive in and address those issues, it was transformative for them. Not only did they lose a bunch of weight, they look great, but more importantly, now he is confident who he is. He has the drive, he has the motivation like he did before. And now they're going to the Air Force ball every year, and they're living a whole new life, and it's changed who he is as a person. So it's not just weight. People always have goals. I want to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds. So what's the real reason behind it? And that's the emotional connection that you got to make.
And you get in there before. You get in there before before they're overweight. You kind of figure out the why, I guess, if that makes sense.
You have to. Yeah, this goes to the sales and marketing side of things. If you're going to help someone, they have to believe you can, but there has to be a deeper purpose, a deeper why. It's not just about, I want to lose 20 pounds. That's never the goal. There's a reason. Why do you want to lose 20? So I love the question. And for anyone who runs a business, when you're having sales conversations, simple question: why is that important to you? Well, I want to look better. Why is that important to you? Well, because, and why is that, and when you dive maybe 6, 7 layers deep, you finally get to the real why. And it's typically a deep emotional layer that you hadn't even scratched the surface of in the beginning. But that's important connection, because that helps them connect to you. And they're more likely to enroll and buy your service or product.
Yeah. So by the way, if you're not the one who's mainly working with the clients, your team is, I don't even know, what's an engagement like with you guys?
Yeah, so Peak Launch Program is our flagship offering. It's a 6-month program, and we have a client concierge who is their main touch point for anything and everything they need. There's a pharmacy lead for any products, refills, supplements, hormones, peptides that they need. Make sure they never run out of stuff. They have a longevity trained medical provider who works with them directly on reviewing blood labs and prescribing hormones and dialing in peptides and stuff like that. And then the functional medicine trained coach. They're all certified by FDN, which is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. So they're specially certified to prescribe for you a gut protocol, a fitness protocol, nutrition planning, meal planning. And they all work together. And I've created an amazing forward-facing app, a client app, which has an amazing user interface that allows the client to see all their lab data real time, all their wearable technology tracking data real time, all their supplements and medication, the list real time, and they can actually directly communicate, text their medical provider and text their coach and text the concierge. No other program out there that I know of allows you to directly text your doctor. And so we've really, what I believe is created the next, generation of precision medicine as it relates to performance.
Yeah, you're ahead of the curve. I like that. So wait, before I forget, I always do. How does someone get a hold of you, or how does someone get a hold of your team if they're interested in moving forward?
Thanks so much. So check out gapininstitute.com. That's GAPIN institute.com. And if you go to gapininstitute.com/launch, LAUNCH, I have a great high performance health handbook, which is a great guide that people can just get started with. 15 strategies and tactics you can start using today to have more energy, focus, and drive. And they're super easy and they're actionable. And so just go to gapininstitute.com/launch. And then there'll also be a link there where if you want to talk to someone on my team, you can jump on as well.
Nice. All that just kind of for free at first, and then they engage you, et cetera.
We have a bunch of free content on the front end, and I have a digital copy of my best-selling book, Mel 2.0 we give out. We have a peptide guide. We have all kinds of gifts that we give away on the front end, and that really it's just providing value and service, and we know that you do that, it'll take care of itself.
Wait a minute. And what was it? Speaking of book, by the way, Modern Millions. AI.
There you go.
My best-selling book on Amazon.com right now. In the entrepreneurial space. Wait a minute. What was the name of your book? Because that sounded like that was kind of cool. What was the name of it?
Thank you. Male 2.0.
MAIL 2.0.
Male as in MALE as in men's health. And so, yeah, Male 2.0. It was really that was the first book I wrote. It was really focused on how do I get men to think differently and to not be so reactive, waiting for, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality. So instead of waiting for a problem, be proactive and really, pursue the advanced diagnostic stuff to look under the hood and not wait until it's too late and be personalized and not just fall for the one size fails all stuff that you hear on Twitter and Instagram, et cetera.
If you take care of it beforehand, it'll save you money, save you heartache, maybe save your life. It totally makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like getting an oil change.
Proactive oil change every whatever, 3,000. Yeah, totally makes sense. All right, let me ask a couple questions about your marketing, because I think your marketing is unbelievable. Your funnel is unbelievable.
Thank you.
How did you adopt that? I mean, because it's a no-brainer to get in your funnel, which obviously the result is good stuff when you're in your funnel.
Business courses, masterminds, training, certification. You study it like anything else that you want to get good at. You study it, and I've been in several groups, and it's really understanding how does my client think? How's my avatar think? What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? Think of the bleeding neck. So for anyone running a business, what's that bleeding neck that your client has? Mm-hmm. And how can you solve that bleeding neck? And when you can really dive into that pain point and offer them something that they need, that's when I think you can really connect with them. And that's where I think the marketing makes more sense. A lot of people out there are just trying to get a sale. Mm-hmm. And buy my widget, buy this or buy that. And I think instead, if you can just connect with the audience, provide service, provide value, and then share how you think and how you approach their problems in a very unique way, coming from a place of service, I think it takes care of itself.
I saw you on TEDx. I see you have I think you have your own podcast, or at least you're getting on a lot of podcasts. It looks like you have some social media stuff out there. So I guess I'm going to ask, what's next? What's next as far as, what do you see in the future as far as social media, marketing, et cetera?
Yeah. So what I'm working on currently is a next phase, if you will, that I'm now focused on other doctors who are looking to follow my footsteps. They're in traditional medicine like I was. They're miserable like I was. They hate it. They don't know how to get out. They're stuck. And they don't know where to go. They don't know. They see what I've done. How do I do that? I want that. And back when I was leaving, they all thought I was batshit crazy. Now they're like, can you teach me how to do it as well? And so my new focus is really finally now I've transitioned to training other doctors. How do you take the same path that I have? And so we'll have multiple peak launch centers throughout the country as well, and a licensing model where other doctors can run my program from within their existing practice as well, and then training doctors to really take this path as well, because I want to transform healthcare. I really want to transform men's health, and we serve women as well, but men's health has always been my passion. I can't do it alone, though. I need other doctors joining this mission as well.
So that's why, because on your website it does say launching another city or coming soon. Yeah, right. That makes sense. So, but don't you find it sometimes difficult? Like me, we're trying to do the same thing in the tax world. I mean, I have a huge community of tax people who need help, but they're slow because they're still kind of in the in the old days, or old school, they're still looking at, what's going to hit them 50 years ago. Don't you
Yep.
find that kind of difficult to make that switch for them and help them walk down that path?
Yeah, and I think it has to be the right doctor for me or client for you, someone who's ready, who's eager and willing. And I think of the client journey and where are they in that path? And there's problem unaware. They don't even know there's a problem. Then there's a problem aware, but solution unaware. And then there's solution aware, and then they're aware of you. And they're,
Mhm.
and trying to meet them in the wrong spot. So if you're trying to offer your services to someone who's problem unaware, like for example, if I started talking about um back when I was a urologist, I did a lot of HIFU, a lot of minimally invasive prostate cancer treatment. If I was out there promoting everyone, you need HIFU. I'm like, I don't have prostate cancer. Why do you? I don't even know I have a problem. When they have prostate cancer, then they're going to be looking for me because now I have prostate cancer. I need to treat it, and now they're going to find me. So you need to understand where is your client in that journey. And so for me, when I work with driven, successful leaders, if I'm trying to promote hormones and peptides and solutions to a problem they don't even know they have, I'm not going to connect. But if I can connect them instead, hey, are you struggling with low energy middle of the day? Are you finding your sleep isn't as good as it was? Are you finding you can't get rid of that belly fat no matter how hard you try? You're in the gym, nothing's working. Now I'm connecting with them. Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah. And now I can start to educate them on what's the underlying cause of that
Mhm.
instead of trying to sell them something. That's the key that I learned along the way when it comes to the marketing is you got to really connect with them where they are. So to your point, if a doctor is in traditional medicine and he doesn't even want to leave, he just thinks he's stuck, forget it, then that messaging has to be very different.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. So then I know we're right there. We're talking about an experienced doctor, but let's take Dr. Trace back when he was a kid, just starting out down the entrepreneurial journey. What would you say to him as he's just starting out? So this is talking to a new doctor, a new entrepreneur. What would you say
Yeah.
to kind of get him going?
And I've actually built my founders program around answering that exact question. So I love that
Mhm.
question. You teed it up. So I think it first starts with what's the problem you're solving? I think any business comes down to what is the problem that you're solving. And you have to be very clear about that and who are you solving it for and how is your solution unique or different in some way.
Mhm.
You have to be able to do it faster, better, or cheaper.
Mhm.
One of those ways. Faster, better, cheaper. How are you providing that service, that value? And for us, it's better. We have a high ticket, high level program. We do it better than anyone else, without question. We're not cheaper. We're not competing with Function Health, who could do your labs for $499, or now I think Whoop or Aura or Ultra Human doing it for $199. We're not competing on price over doing it cheaper. We also don't do it fast. We know that health optimization and performance, it takes time. So it's not faster, it's better. And so going back to your question, it's what's the service, what's the problem you're solving, who you're serving, who's your audience with that problem, and how is your solution better, faster, cheaper?
I think if you're fighting for, to do it the cheapest, usually there's some issues. I mean, it's hard as an entrepreneur to do that, but
Way
it's
too
worked for
crowded.
Vanguard as an example. But
Yep.
okay, a few more questions if you don't mind. This is fun. I'm
Yeah.
having fun time. I'm sure there's people who are watching and listening who are having fun as well. So, what if I like your marketing stuff? So I'm gonna ask a couple questions about that. So, what do you think, in your opinion, makes you different relative to the rest of the marketplace? Even though I don't think you have a marketplace, you put a moat around your business. But what makes you unique?
Yeah. So, and I actually had this question from a client this morning who was actually looking at Life Force and chose us over Life Force. So, great question. So, we have an integrated model. So, what no one else is doing out there is putting the diagnostics combined with precision medicine care with actually longevity medical providers, with the functional medicine coaching, with the lifestyle piece, and with the data tracking to actually know that what you're doing is working. And so, it's those four components that are put together. And I like to say it's the intersection of the medical precision with the functional wisdom that is where the magic happens. And so I have a system is, a peak launch system is test, design, and track. My method for how we do it, but it's putting all those pieces together in a cohesive fashion with an incredible, badass, awesome client facing app to make it the user interface unlike any other, and the access and the accessibility to our team unlike any other. Higher level concierge service. That is, to me, our biggest differentiator out there.
I like that. Yeah, we have an app too. We don't push it enough. We really should. So wait a
Yeah.
minute. So I have a little bit of a bone to pick with you. It doesn't because we're AI. We're an AI company first. We've been doing AI really since 2018. Our model called Einstein, which helps to lower tax liability for business owners. I don't see a lot of AI in your business. What's the deal there?
Yeah, we use a lot of AI. Everyone on our team uses AI. So every call, whether you're with a coach, a medical provider, a concierge, anyone, every call has AI Fathom transcription happening, and the client gets a copy of it. It gives you a summary, it gives you analysis of it. But we're also instilling, this is pretty cool, in the app, in our peak launch app, we're adding what's called PLX. And PLX is your custom AI agent that is going to enable you to interact with it directly, and it's trained by me. By the language model is going to have all the 15 years of medical research that I have accumulated of longevity science, number one, as the background, and more importantly, it's going to have all of your lab data, your wearable data, your own personal metrics that it's reading from as well. And so it's not just taking from the World Wide Web; it's taking from your personal data and from the science that I give it, so that it's going to give you real actionable advice as well. I love AI. I think it's incredible. I use it every day in so many ways, but I'll tell you, there's still always going to be a role for human connection. And we double down on that. That AI is great, but you need to work with a human as well. And I'll tell you, we've had so many clients come to us. They've had the function health test, blood lab testing, or even life force, and they want to work with real people, real humans. And that's where we provide more differentiation as well.
I think the human interaction is very important. Tax,
Yeah.
finance, if you're,
Yeah.
working with someone like you, a group like you, but at the same time, behind the scenes, if there's AI model or AI, the specifics that go into the AI conversation, what we call a knowledge base, it'll help the end user client as long as there's a good individual who's helping with the interface.
Yep.
Because you need the compassion of a human, et cetera. But behind the scenes, I think you have to have an AI. I didn't realize you had that going on. That makes a big difference. I'm proud of you. Nice work.
Yeah, yeah, really important, and it's really it's changing the game in every way. In every area of our business, we're using AI, and yeah, anyone who's not using AI, you're being left behind. Yeah,
Yeah, so that makes small your well, not, I was gonna say your competition because if people are, let's say you have 100 doctors, only one's using AI like you are, they're gonna far succeed over the ones who aren't using AI
right,
in a big way.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
nice job. So, all right, so let's get ready to land this plane. What's one thing we have not talked about that you think can add value to an entrepreneur, either a doctor or maybe someone who's looking for, longevity, health, or maybe someone who wants to get into marketing and expand their business?
Yeah, I think the one thing you really got to do, I believe, is get tested. And so,
Mhm.
what I mean by this is, so many of us think we're fine. You go through life, and yeah, I'm a little tired, but I'm okay. I don't sleep well, I'm okay. But most people don't ever get the diagnostics done. I'm talking about comprehensive blood lab testing. I'm talking about microbiome, gut health testing. I'm talking about all the complex testing to really understand how your body's working and is it working like it should. And most people don't get that testing done. They don't even realize how they're having issues with inflammation or hormone issues or micronutrient deficiencies or issues with blood sugar control that's affecting their energy and their performance every day, their cognitive function, their mood, their drive, their productivity and efficiency are being held back and they don't even realize it. And so for any entrepreneur out there, be sure you're getting tested and find those blind spots that may be holding you back.
And if you think about it, it's not only in longevity health, but it's also in, as I'm so interested in your business as far as marketing goes, same thing. Have it tested, have it analyzed by a professional. But most importantly, for you, what you're talking about is longevity of health. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Well, okay. So how does someone once again get a hold of you if they're interested in living longer?
Thanks so much. Yeah. So gapininstitute.com, GAPINinstitute.com, and check us out. Happy to jump on a call with you anytime.
Love it. Once again, this is Ken French, Vast Voices, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Thanks, everybody.